Module 6 of our web design course, and credibility. Such an important thing. Does your website look credible? It's not 2004 anymore. People's expectations are higher and they want certain things from your website. Now, many ways that you can appear more credible. Again, what I am not suggesting here is that you lie in any way or you make up things, but you can certainly use the assets that you have to better use. So testimonials. The only thing with testimonials is maybe don't call them testimonials on your website. Call them happy clients or trusted by or something along those lines. Testimonials, I think, is just such a marketing word. Celebrity endorsements, obviously massive in the radio and TV world. Many websites have followed suit. That may be a bit more expensive, but at least maybe just using well-known names. For years, I dropped the name of one of our big clients because, I actually took that client on at cost so that I could drop their name in future meetings, either on stage or in sales meetings. And it was well worth it to me. That really helped us get known as an agency back then. Ratings and reviews. I am so manic about. I think I've been talking about this since about 2007. Ratings are so important because in a world where everybody has a voice and you really don't need to annoy people much for them to jump online and leave you a 1-star rating, you really need to think about going and proactively collecting good reviews, and we'll talk about a couple of ways to do that. Show don't tell is one of the rules they teach you when you start speaking. So badges, certifications, logos, all of that stuff to show people that, hey, we've been in the New York Times or Inc. magazine or whatever it might be. We are a member of this. All of those things. I'll show you a couple of examples towards the end here. And just your social media. Again, social proof, one of Cialdini's 6 things in the book Influence. If you haven't read Influence, you must. You can use that to show that this person, you're not alone in visiting my website. Hundreds or maybe thousands of people have been here before and trusted us. So just a quick note on testimonials. Real testimonials, obviously, as we said before, you're not making anything up here. One thing I like to do with testimonials, if you glance at one of ours over here on the right-hand side, is just pulling a few words out of the testimonial and making that the headline for the testimonial. So here from Brian Tracy. So again, we're using sort of almost celebrity endorsement at the same time as the testimonial here because everyone's heard of Brian Tracy, but the absolute best in AdWords management. So yes, the whole testimonial is there, but no one's going to read, 3 short paragraphs over there. People just aren't going to read that, but we pull the best bit out and highlight that. So when you've got a lot of these, people will glance at the headlines of the testimonials and who they're from. So you're just using the 2 best bits there, capitalizing on that. We've talked about endorsements, but from somebody influential, obviously. Now that doesn't necessarily mean a Brian Tracy or a big name. It could be a quote from somebody that's just well known in your particular industry, or that is going to be well known by your prospects. Let's talk about ratings and reviews. So obviously, good ratings are lovely. And again, you can pull out the headline. That's not probably the best headline for this one so far. Very good customer service. But still, and responding to those, this is great here. The guys at Showpo have responded to this testimonial, and just to say thank you. That doesn't hurt. Just take that extra time. But the question I always get is, what about the bad reviews? So let's talk about those a little bit here. For one thing, they actually help in a way, as long as there's not 80% negative and a couple of good ones. They do help everything look more credible. If your website, your Amazon store, whatever it is we're talking about, is full of 5-star ratings, it maybe looks a little made up. So the odd bad one in there isn't such a terrible thing. They prove that feedback's real and people believe it more. Now, how you respond to bad reviews is really important. don't just delete it and ignore it. In a transparent world, that doesn't work. Don't be defensive and go attacking that person. Start by thanking them. Respond publicly, and if need be, just say, please give me a contact here, or tell them that you know who they are and that you've spoken to your ops manager and you're reaching out. Tell them that a resolution is underway. Dot point, maybe, what you know at this point, but you kind of don't want this whole thing necessarily to play out publicly, because that's just boring for everybody. But how you are seen to respond to that. I heard a story of a guy who chose his honeymoon hotel in Fiji based on one of how the manager had responded to a 1-star review on TripAdvisor. The vast majority of reviews on TripAdvisor were excellent, but there was one, maybe two bad reviews, but it was the way that the manager had responded to it. And so the story goes, and I don't know if this is one of those urban myths, but I can't remember where I heard it from. When they went there on honeymoon, the actual same manager was there to greet them as they came in, because, honeymoon suite, bottle of champagne, all of that. So the manager's there, and he mentioned this thing, basically, I think, to find out if it was real. And the manager remembered it, confirmed that it was real, confirmed, yes, that had happened, and yes, of course, that's how we respond to these things. And so massive credibility was built again there, because he knew exactly what was going on. I thought that was just a cool story. People do remember. There you go. Good timing. So, moving on from negative reviews, trust badges. Show that credibility. Now, that could be that you're a Google trusted store. Great one to use there. If it's important in your world, something like the Norton Secured or Hacker Safe, something like that, would be useful. Other badges, if you're an agency, we use our Premier Google Partner Badge, obviously, because, that means we're one of the best agencies in Australia. What else can you use there? Now, the only thing with this is I have seen people on their website, it's 2017 as I record this, and if the last award you won is 2008, it's probably time to take that off your website. 2015, 2016 award winner, probably okay. 2010, getting a little old, because it looks like that's the last time you did anything good. So you've got to be just a little bit mindful of how you use this stuff. As seen on TV, and again, the media logos that we talked about before, that can add a lot of credibility. Back in the day, 10 years ago, a lot of people would do as seen on Oprah.com, New York Times, because they'd shown an ad on that website. Please don't do that. If you've had an article on those sites, you've been interviewed on one of those sites, then that's fine. But just the fact that you bought an ad and showed it once on those sites is not enough to put as seen on. And social media, again, but back to social proof and Cialdini. As long as you have a decent number. Now, if you've only got 14 followers on Facebook, then you probably don't want to put that on your site. And I'm not a fan of buying likes on Facebook, at least unless you know what the strategy is for what you're going to do after you've bought those likes. But that is sometimes acceptable to make this look lived in. Or buying video views on YouTube so that you don't have 23 views of your video when your competition has 100,000 views for a very similar video. It just looks like you're a complete newbie and you have no credibility. People will believe what other people have done. Even though they've never met them and they have no idea who they are, we trust that lots of other people have done this thing. Well, good enough for me. If those few thousand people have done it, then I should be okay. I'll see you in the next module.